Hey guys, this is Tauna, and today we're going to be talking about cards you guys should be picking up potentially for the Tarkir Precons, or cards to kind of keep an eye on as these slowly get revealed. So keep in mind that, we've seen the Precon commanders, we know what they both both the face commanders, they're both meant to kind of work well with the decks and everything do, and based off of that we can make some fairly easy and educated guesses as to what they do, what the decks actually do and what they don't do. Certain cards are unlikely to get reprinted in those ones that we're talking about, and certainly not within these Precons in my opinion. Universes Beyond are even less likely to see reprints. So we're going to go kind of through a whole bunch of different cards here for each of the different Precons, starting out with the Abzan and Abzan Armor. So what I'm focusing on here is Falathor the Steadfast, kind of like the, I don't know, there's not really a face commander here, so I'm not going to say face commander or not, but we've got Falathor here. We're going to be focusing on the defenders, the toughness matters, and the low power creatures. Most things, are going to be focused kind of around that high toughness, low power. More things to kind of cheat cards out on the battlefield, and a little bit of reanimation as well in here to kind of take advantage of this additional sacrifice. So we've got Ovia, Automech Tech Arisen. She just came out within the most recent Aether Drift. We're not going to see reprints for Aether Drift cards already. This is a great one. As well as the fact that you can use it to make it so that opponents take more damage, because each of your opponents will take trampling when someone attacks them. Really great. We've got Last March of the Ents. We're not going to see this kind of printed again. And this is going to be insane in this deck, because you're going to draw a whole bunch of cards, and then you're going to be able to swing in and get on the swing in. You're going to get heaps of creature cards out of the battlefield. It's going to be great with this deck. And it's a quite of expensive card at the moment, but it's going to be insane with this card. We've got Tree of Perdition. I do not expect this to get reprinted here, and I think it's going to be insane. I don't think that they'd print it within a Precon. It's just been reprinted within the Strata Remastered as well. But you get this out turn 4, you tap it, turn 5 maybe. I mean, turn 4 is we're in green. We're going to get this out turn 2, turn 3 maybe, and then we're going to exchange it. We're going to get this up to 40, and then all of a sudden you've got this big 40 toughness creature that's actually got 40, dealing 40 damage thanks to our commander as well. It's going to be crazy. Fekud Green Shell from back in Bloomburrow. Great one. Whenever a creature enters, if it's got toughness greater than its power, you get to look at the top card of your library and then if it's a land, put it out. If not, put it into your hand. Great. Creatures you can draw get +2/+2 if you've got 10 or more lands. Great. Everything we kind of want from one. We've got McCready Lamplight Mare. So Fallout card, very much not likely to see a reprint here. But with this deck, it's going to be bonkers, because each of your creatures that is, got a 0 power, because it's just a wall, it's going to swing in and get Skulk. It's going to be bonkers. We've got 6. Obviously, there's a bunch of tree folk that already have toughness greater than their power. But 6 is a great one here, because it's going to mill stuff into your graveyard. And then we can reanimate it, as well as the fact he gives all cards in your graveyard retrace. All non-land permanents in your graveyard retrace. So you sacrifice a creature, then you can retrace it. Chuck a land in there. We're going to have stuff to be able to bring stuff back. Like, for example, one of the ones that I talk about later on. That was in the Sultai one, I think. We've got Nethroi, Apex of Death. They're not going to reprint Mutate within a Precon, for sure. 95% they're not going to reprint this. But this essentially is going to be a huge mass revive for this deck, because all of our creatures will have very, very low power. So we could bring back a huge amount of creatures with this, just for the cost of, mutating it onto something. Yeah, it's actually pretty great for that. We've got the Meek Stone. Creatures with power of 3 or greater don't untap during their control's untap. Now all of a sudden, your stuff's untapping, opponents aren't, because, your stuff has, 0 toughness. 0 power. Your stuff has 0 power. It's fine. Your opponents have actual creatures. Their stuff's not fine. We've got Assemble the Players. Now you can play those creatures off the top of your deck as well. Ramas Ekor Ancient Shield. So this is an artifact from the Scene cards from Lord of the Rings. It has, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, draw a card, then create a wall. That's going to be great, as well as the fact that you can sacrifice those walls. Now, the defender part here, the defender's getting exalted, not as great. It's not super duper useful, but it could be useful in some circumstances. It's just the fact that whenever we cast our second spell, we get to create a wall, draw a card. That's a great artifact, in my opinion. All right, next up, we've got the Sultai one. So for this, I focused on Tevel, the balanced scale. He's got, some mill in him. He's going to get you great lands from your graveyard back onto the battlefield with it. He's also going to create token zombies whenever you have a card leave, one or more cards leave your graveyard. So we're going to add in some more self-mill enablers that are amazing and unlikely to get reprinted here. A little bit of zombie synergy as well that I don't think will get reprinted, as well as some ways to just get the cards back from your graveyard. So we've got Head Shredder. This was from Duskmourn, and it is like one of my favorite cards in any kind of mill deck. It is just great. When it attacks, you mill, but then anytime you mill a land card, you don't even have to have this. Like, this doesn't have to do the milling. Anytime you mill a land card, you get to put it back onto the battlefield tapped. You are going to get so much potential procs from this, as well as the fact that this here will proc Tevel and create zombies. We've got Ripples of Undeath. Again, unlikely to get reprinted, is so insanely strong from Modern Horizons 3. And again, this is a Tevel ping here, Tevel proc trigger here each time you do this, because it puts it back into your hand from the graveyard. It's great. We've got Insidious Roots. I don't think it's going to get reprinted. Now all of those creature tokens you're creating, all of the zombies that you're creating, all tap for mana, as well as you're going to be able to create green plants from here too. We've got Rooftop Storm. So I did say about adding in a little bit of zombie synergy, because very likely there's going to be some zombies in here. Sultai has a lot of zombie kind of stuff in it. This kind of ties into that. This is the one that I'm kind of a little bit more on the fence of. Will it be worth it or not? I'd need to see more of the deck list to kind of know, but I do think that it's potentially worthwhile. We've got Wonder here. Chuck it into your graveyard. Boom. Now all of your stuff has flying. Worthwhile. We've got Lost Monarch of Ifnir. So this was just from the most recent, I was going to say Amonkhet, Eighth Adrift Precon. So it's going to give all those zombies that you're creating Flick 3, as well as the fact that if you deal combat damage to someone with a zombie, now you get to mill 3 and then return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. That's going to be great. We've got Tortured Existent. My friend's not going to shut up about the fact that this card is amazing. Jack John Jackson, this is for you. Pay black, choose and discard a creature, and then return a creature from your graveyard to your hand. That is going to be amazing for this commander, because each time it's also going to create a zombie, get to get back creature cards that you potentially accidentally milled that you really want to cast and stuff. It's going to be amazing. We've got World Shaper. Whenever it attacks, mill 3 cards. And then when it dies, return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tap. So if you didn't have your Head Shredder out at the time, you can now bring back all those lands. I think it's great. Like, it's got mill based on it. And that's also optional mill. You don't need to mill with him. You have the choice of it. And just bring back all those lands. It's going to be amazing. We've got Victimize. I'm not going to shut up about this card, because you get to just bring back 2 creatures from your graveyard just by sacking a creature. I think it's just amazing. I don't know if it will go up in price very much. It is a very, very cheap card at the moment. I'm picking up copies of it because it's just amazing, and I'm going to be using it until the end of time. I think a while back it was a little bit more expensive, but it's just a great card. And then we've got 6 again. We talked about 6 briefly. 6 is great here too. So if you guys are liking this content so far, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share the video around, all that kind of stuff, and let me know what kind of Tarkir videos you want to see. Next, we've got Mardu Surge. So for this one, I'm focusing on Zergo Storm Render. We've got token creation, specifically around combat. We've got ways to sacrifice tokens that are great and unlikely to get reprinted. And then some ways to make huge amounts of tokens too. One of the first things I think I'd add here is Ishin to Heavens as one. Now, I don't think that he's going to get reprinted. There is a possibility, but to be honest, it would be kind of weird for them to add an additional commander in here, and he would obviously, be another commander with or potential commander. I just don't think so, but I do think it would be insanely great in the deck and definitely worth picking up. We've got Adeline Resplendent Cathar. Anytime you attack, for each opponent, create some humans. Boom. Not likely to get reprinted again in a Precon, I don't think. Also just really great. any kind of token deck, especially if you know you got any token doubles or anything that's going to be making use of this. I didn't put any token doubles on this list, but all of those are probably worth adding in, and they're not really going to get reprinted here either. Anna Pakal, Thousandth Moon here, create a whole bunch of gnomes every time you attack with creatures that aren't gnomes, which you're going to be doing a lot. And then also you get to kind of buff her up as well slowly there. We've got Jaxus the Troublemaker. So this is going to be great for creating just additional creature tokens that are going to be clones of things. Obviously, you can't, copy a legendary with this, unfortunately. You do need to copy a non-legendary because it'll just die immediately otherwise. But you can do some, great copies with Jaxus. Yeah. And just be able to copy some really, really great stuff with him. We've got Mirkwood Bats. It's a Lord of the Rings card. It's not going to get reprinted here, but absolutely insane in a token deck. Ashnod's Altar. Again, I doubt they're going to reprint Ashnods in a Precon, but in this kind of deck, it's going to be great. You're going to get so many triggers from sacrificing things with it. You're going to get, slowly build up your tokens and then use them to do like a big kind of mana dump with something. Goblin Bombardment. You're going to create heaps of goblins or heaps of whatever 1/1s. Use them to throw at people. Why not? Elenda the Duskgrows. Now, every time you sack those creatures, you're going to buff up Elenda, and then you're going to make her bigger, and then 1, she's got lifelink, and then 2, if she happens to die, now you got a whole bunch of tokens back. If you've got some reanimation stuff or something like that, you could bring her back too. We've got Commissaire Severina Rain. So she is from the 40k stuff, so again, not going to be reprinted here, but you get to deal damage to each, not deal damage, they lose life. Each opponent loses life equal to the amount of attacking creatures. We're going to build a bunch of tokens, and then we're going to attack with stuff, and then boom, now on top of that, we're going to drain people too. Yeah, it's going to be really great. And then you've also got the sacrifice to gain, life and draw a card from her. And then we've got Caesar. Obviously, this is going to be a very similar precon to the Caesar one, or at least, similar in regards to just kind of aristocrat combat focus. And Caesar in this precon is going to go great too. And again, it's a 40k, not 40k. It's a Fallout card. It's not going to get reprinted in this precon, but it is going to allow you to be able to create, a whole bunch of extra tokens. And then also you've got the option of dealing damage with them too. Just dealing damage to a target opponent equal to the number of creature tokens. Really good here. All right, next we've got the Temur one. So this is Temur Raw. Now, the one I'm focusing on here, I think either commander is a focus here. I think that these ones will work with either of them if you're building Eshki as building dragons, right? I'm obviously focusing on dragons here. The Precon literally talks about dragons and summoning dragons. And Urani probably, with the additions here, is going to be work a little bit better, but Eshki will too. Eshki's just focusing on those power of the creatures you cast. Urani lets you cheat them out, etc. So we've got Terror of the Peaks. Just been, OTJ had the reprint for it there, and it's just Warstorm Surge on a creature with additional dragons. It's going to be great. A huge dragon to just kind of throw at people and to just burn people or burn their creatures or whatever you want to do. We've got Miram. Now, this one people are going to potentially argue with me about. This is technically a card from the Baldur's Gate. So it is from Magic and it is Wizards. So it's a Universes Beyond Light. They don't count as Universes Beyond, but it is technically not within the Magic multiverse. They could potentially reprint it. Anytime. They could potentially reprint this. However, I don't think that they will, purely because of the fact that it is a legendary creature. Miram is a character that exists within the Dungeons & Dragons world. Obviously, they can reprint it if they wanted to, but I don't think they will. However, in this deck, it would fit so insanely well. Bonkers. Because just whenever a non-token dragon enters, you just create a token of it, except it's not legendary. So if you, have Miram out and then, you bring out, say, for example, your Urani here. Boom, now you've got 2 Uranis. And you're going to do his proc twice. It's going to be crazy. We've got Balefire Dragon. Great, great dragon. Whenever it deals combat damage, it deals that much to each creature that player controls. Now, all of a sudden, you're board wiping each time you hit someone. Yeah, really, really great. We've got Cavern Horde Dragon. Just these are all just expensive, or like, you know, the not expensive. They're all dragons that I just don't think that they're going to reprint here. They have the possibility of reprinting a lot of them, but they're like the dragons that are just a little bit too good, I think, for them to print into a precon. Cavern Horde Dragon was from the Lord of the Rings set as well. So, like, its name is generic enough that they could reprint it here, but we will see. We've got the Monster Manual. So this was from the Baldur's Gate expansion. You can tap it, pay one and a green, tap it, and then you can put a creature card, any creature card, onto the battlefield. And because of the fact that dragons have huge mana costs, you're going to cheat out some really big things with this. Monstrous Vortex. Now, all those creature spells that you're casting that are getting your proc on your commander with Jeskai, you're going to then be able to discover on top of that. Oh boy, that's going to potentially do some really, really great things. Just now, all of a sudden, you're getting additional procs from that. You know, there's just a huge amount of uses for this to just get a great amount of really great extra dragons out. Now, every time you cast a dragon, you're going to get an extra dragon out. This one also you cast. So again, if you cast it, then you're going to be able to proc your Jeskai here, because it's just whenever you cast. It doesn't matter how much money you cast on it or spent on it or anything. Balefire Dragon, I got him in there again just because he's that great. Sarkhan's Triumph here. Whenever you search your library for a dragon, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. They rarely ever put a tutor into a precon. This tutor is just insanely great. It is obviously potentially going to get a reprint within the main set here. But I don't know, like, if Sarkhan's Triumph is reprinted within the main set and it's got new art. His Triumph within this set was very different to his original Triumph. But either way, an amazing card that is going to be great in any dragon-focused deck, especially this one. We've got Smuggler's Surprise. I am really surprised that more people don't use this. A really, really great card. Obviously, you know, you've got that mill stuff in there. That's not great. This part here, the creatures that get hexproof and indestructible, boom, great. It is a 2-cost Heroic Intervention. You can run Heroic Intervention as well, if you wanted to. But then this part here, put 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield, or you're going to get some really great value from that in a dragon deck. We got Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, an amazing mana dork, and because of the fact that we've got dragons have huge power. Now Selvala's creating, you know, 6 mana when you tap her, or just any amazing, a great amount of mana. Or you can just get the card draw as well from her. She's just going to be a great mana dork in this. Any kind of, you know, deck that's got huge power can really, really utilize her well. Finally, we've got the Jeskai Striker. So this is focused around Jeskai. Now, I'm focusing on Shiko and Narset for it. Now, some people in my previous video said that I was kind of undervaluing them. Maybe I am. I do still think that, you know, potentially Stellar Elite or Alani is slightly better. But some people pointed out as well that she works really great with auras, because of the fact that you target the auras, right? Like, so you get to copy your auras now. That's not too bad. Again, I do still think that I like those other 2 more, but, you know, maybe I'll find some ways that she is slightly better, maybe with those aura kind of focus or something. So there's ways to take advantage of copying her. I like her copy more. We want to take advantage of that a little bit more. Also take advantage of little creature tokens, because one thing that Jeskai does really well is whenever you cast your spell, when you cast a non-creature spell, create a token. You're going to cast non-creatures, you're going to spit out tokens repeatedly. There is a whole bunch of different Jeskai cards that do that, or just other kind of spell slingery cards that kind of, you know, whenever you cast a spell, create a 1/1 elemental, create a 1/1 monk, create a 1/1 whatever. So I want to kind of take advantage of those a little bit more here. So Narset in Light Exile. Really, really great in this deck. Potentially, you know, another commander that you could run with her if you want to, you know, cast things again from the graveyard, because why not? Gives all of your creatures prowess. Again, why not? A really great card, in my opinion, and a great addition to a deck like this. Time Warp. So why have I included this Time Warp? It specifically says target player takes an extra turn. Now, any of the numerous different extra turn spells that say target player will be great here, because you specifically do need to target for Shiko and Narset to be able to copy them. So this, boom, copy it. You get to choose a different target if you wanted to. Probably don't. You probably choose yourself, and then you get to take 2 extra turns from there. We've got Arcane Bombardment. I just really love Arcane Bombardment. I think it's great. And the fact that you do get to copy each card exiled, and then you get to cast those, mean that you're going to be able to get these procs really, really easily, especially because this is on each turn you get to do this. So now you get to get that 2 procs of, the cast a second spell each turn really, really easily with just casting any instant or sorcery on someone else's turn as well. We've got Underworld Breach. I doubt they're going to print a game changer into a precon straight away as soon as they kind of introduce the game changers, but this also is a game changer for a reason, because of the fact that it is such a insanely great card, and will work really, really well with this. It's kind of like your big finisher that you can add in, or you have to kind of build around it a little bit more for it to be a big finisher, but still being able to get that kind of, escape, cast those cards again from your graveyard, I don't think is a bad idea. Especially if you add in some wheels or something like that too, it's not a bad idea as well. We've got Gift of Immortality. As I said about, specifically adding in some auras in here, I think that this is a decent aura to kind of add in here. Now, keep in mind that you will get this trigger here for it. However, the token copy of Gift of Immortality will not, be able to, go into the graveyard and then come back. It's gone, right? So this will give you the opportunity of being able to at least give immortality to your commander, which is really, really cool. And the fact that, you can potentially give immortality or partial immortality to something else, like a kind of a not dead after all kind of thing, fake your own death, where they get to die, then come back. They don't unfortunately get it back though. We've got High Fate Trickster. Giving flash to everything is just great. I think this is one of the best uses for flash. One of the best enablers for flash. And yeah, nothing else to say about it. Just to give flash to everything so we can get that Shiko and Narset trigger constantly, casting 2 spells on each person's turn, not just our own. We've got Niv Mizzet Visionary. All our burn spells or burn damage, any burn damage, non-combat damage, turns into card draw. Great. Because now we get a whole bunch of card draw to be able to kind of shape our hand into what we want it to be. You can add in some more card draw stuff in here as well, or add in the other Niv Mizzet, because why not add in the fact that when you draw, burn people, and then you get the infinite there. But I just honestly like this Niv Mizzet because of the fact that he gives you a lot of card draw, and he's also pretty, he's only had 1 printing within Foundations, while the other Niv Mizzets have been printed in other things. We've got even Ravnica Returns, and then I think we've seen some in Precons and stuff, while this one here has only been printed within Foundations, so very likely to go up in my opinion. We've got Sorcerer's Class. All of those little shitlings that we're making now all tap for mana to cast instants and sorceries. Amazing. I love it. And also adding in some burn here with whenever you cast the instants and sorceries, and just card draw when it comes out too. Magnus. I have built a Magnus the Red Goblin deck. I absolutely love it. I'm really looking forward to trying it out more. This Magnus is just going to be crazy great in if you wanted to keep it with more instants and sorceries, because you may get them to make them cheaper. As I said before about, the kind of abilities of Jeskai, a lot of them have whenever you cast something, create a shitling. Now all those shitlings just reduce the cost of all of your spells, which is great. And then Veyran. I do not think they'll print Veyran within the Precon. I obviously could be wrong about that. However, the fact that, because of the fact that I don't think that they want to do Magecraft with this. I think they want to do more the flurry, as they called it. Just, casting it, now triggers it. So potentially, you know, casting your second one will make it so your commander triggers twice, which is great. You're going to get Veyran to be big with pseudo prowess kind of thing. Will be really great. Now, these are things that we looked at in the past. My early guesses for the Aether Drift Precons, and as you can see, we went relatively well. You know, some of these have gone up like, you know, $20 here. We've got $13 here on the currency converter. We've got $8. The Tortured Existence went up. Now, keep in mind that obviously not all of these went up purely because of the Precon. Some of them went up because of other things. However, you know, I know that Tortured Existence was definitely because of the Precon. Currency converter, I would bet money the fact that it was either the Precon or Hashaton. Either way. Simulcarium definitely could have been other things as well, but you know, we got some pretty good kind of stuff. And the other one here, this is our must buys for March. A lot of them haven't really moved much so far. They're still around, like none of them have gone up or down by $1. Keep in mind that this is only like, you know, 20 days old, this data here. This is the initial price that we bought them for, like that you could have bought them for when I talked about them in the video. This is their current price. So these were more like a long-term kind of thing that I'd look at investing in, to, you know, make sure that you pick them up so then you've got them for decks and stuff, not investing to sell them again. That's not what I'm talking about. But I do think that, you know, we've got some good-looking stuff here. Like, you know, Conjurer's Closet currently is at $1. That's not going to stay $1. That's not going to stay $1. So yeah, this is kind of, I just wanted to kind of show my working kind of thing as to what my guesses are, the fact that they turned out rather well in the past. So let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you guys. Have a great day and goodbye.